Hello. Whatever Coco wants, Coco gets. And little Coco wants you. Make up your mind to have no regrets. Recline yourselves, resign yourselves, you're through. Oh, I always get what I aim for, and your hearts and your souls are what I came for. Whatever Coco wants, Coco gets. Don't give me crap. Don't you know you can't win? There's no exception to the rules. I'm irresistible, you fools. Give in. Hello, my darling Cocoa Puffs. It's your girlfriend, Coco Peru. And I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. But as we used to say back in the Bronx, fuck it. I always get what I aim for, and your hearts and your souls are what I came for. Whatever Coco wants, Coco gets. Don't give me shit. Don't you know you can't win? You're no exception to the rules. I'm irresistible, you fools. Give in. Give in. Give in. Give in. Hello. Let me pause this because we're very high tech here. There we go. Hello, my darling Cocoa Puffs. Oh my God. First of all, I just want to say, thank you so much for being here. I miss you all so much. Now, secondly, I have to acknowledge today was the day that right now I would actually be on a plane to Spain, but something happened. Something happened to cancel that out. And thirdly, I would just like to say or acknowledge it is Judy Garland's birthday today. And listen, if you're very young and you're sitting there thinking to yourself, who is Judy Garland? Fuck you. Anyway, listen, my darlings, I know I can't see you. I can't hear you. And I know we're very many miles apart. But still, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I still expect a standing ovation. I have needs. Anyway, later on in the show, darlings, I'm going to do a little Q&A. You'll be asking the questions. I'll be trying to give some answers off the top of my head. But here to explain how to ask a question is my friend Chris Caputo. Chris, are you there, sweetheart?
I am.
Hello, handsome.
How are you?
I'm a little nervous, Chris, to be very honest. I have what we say, agita.
Yeah, but it's good. It's going to be great. We have a great audience. And one of the great things about tonight is we're having a Q&A, as you mentioned. So people can go ahead and leave a question in the chat. And then a little later in the show, we'll take some of those questions and you can answer them. And while they're there, by the way, they can also tip you by using the send tip function if they'd like.
How embarrassing. This is what I'm brought to, kids, begging for tips. But Chris, so is that it? Is that all they need to know right now?
That's all they need to know right now.
Now, Chris, did you ever find out for me if you were related to a girl named Kim Caputo from the Bronx?
Sadly, I am not.
Oh, that is, kids, I grew up with a girl named Kim Caputo. I never heard that name except for you, Chris. And oh God, I love Kim Caputo. She developed huge breasts at a very early age. And if you saw one of my earlier videos, I used to do York Peppermint Patty commercials, not on television, in the classroom with Kim Caputo. So just your last name brings back these memories.
That's fun.
Okay, you don't give a shit, Chris. All right, darling. I will see you later. Bye. Very handsome, that Chris Caputo. Anyway, well, as you know, I have been stuck in my house now for 2.5 months. And that bothers me. But you see, the thing is, for the past 30 years, I've been working as Coco in beautiful theaters, in wonderful, fabulous cabaret clubs and other assorted shitholes throughout the globe, But this is the first time I'm ever performing in my kitchen. I mean, who knew it would come to this? And now listen, I also want to know, I have performed in front of some really shitty backdrops, but this takes the cake. Blinds, my wooden blinds. And I thought about going downtown to downtown Los Angeles to pick up some fabulous material like my girlfriend, Varla Jean Merman, has for her show. I love her backdrop. Hi, Varla. I know you're watching. I love you, sweetheart. She has a fabulous backdrop, very colorful. And I thought about doing something like that, or maybe a little draping of sorts, And then I thought to myself, no. This is Casa Coco, and in Coco's Casa, you get blinds. I'm keeping it real, kids. All right? That's just the kind of drag queen I am. Anyway, so let me just get my notes. I do have notes, darlings, because I'm a nervous friggin' wreck, and you have all written me such wonderful, supportive things, but I'm crazy, okay? So I need my notes. I want to see where I am. By the way, honey, are you there?
Yes, I am.
That's my husband, Rafael. He's from Spain. Thank you. Years ago, we saw, who did we see? Oh, Carol Channing. How could I forget Carol? We saw Carol Channing before she passed, and she was up on stage, and she didn't know where she was ever in the show. Her husband sat right up front, and she would say, honey, what else did I want to tell this lovely audience? And he would yell up at the next section of her show. So my husband is basically Carol Channing's husband tonight. I mean, you get what I'm trying to say. Anyway, for the past 2.5 months, I've been doing my what am I? The Coco Thoughts while in solitude, and so many of you sent me the most, on all my formats, online, sent me the most beautiful, really lovely messages. I was so moved by so many of them. And I tried to read all of them. I'd answer some of them. But I just wanted you to know what was so wonderful to me about it was that in trying to be there for you, you ended up being there for me. So thank you, first of all. And as I once screamed out to Barry Manilow across the room very inappropriately, Barry, thank you for everything. I think Barry was probably a little disturbed by that. I mean, why didn't I just walk over and say something? No, in my mind, it was better to scream out across a crowded room. I don't understand the way I work sometimes. Anyway, so thank you for all of your beautiful comments, all right? But I just have to acknowledge, there's always that one, that one comment. And listen, I don't want to focus on the negative right now, but I will. It's my nature. You see, this person wrote to me saying that he was giving up on my Coco Thoughts while in solitude because Coco Peru is not trying anymore. And then he told me to have a good life, which, basically means go fuck yourself, Coco. But you see, for those of you that had been watching, you knew that I was having a little precancer on my lip. And you know the story about the time I was in New York City on 73rd and Broadway. Oh my God. And I was waiting for the light, and I ended up standing next to this young guy, and he was standing next to this older, very New York woman. And he had a bandage on his mouth. And he said to her, to make a long story short, they removed a tumor from my lip. And she responded without missing a beat, darling, no one wants to hear that story, long or short. So I know you don't want to really hear about my lip, but you're going to hear it. So I had this precancer on my lip, right? And I went in. They finally figured it out. That's what it was. I've been going back and forth. They they freeze it, which is like burning it, right? 2 days later, my lips blew up, killing me, so inflamed. I went back to the dermatologist. They gave me some antibacterial cream, took a test, sent me home. 2 days later, I'm feeling better. They call me. She says, how you feeling? I said, I feel great. I stopped using the cream. She said, don't. You have MRSA. Some of you know what MRSA is. For those of you that don't, it is that highly infectious bacteria people pick up in hospitals. My doctor told me it's on doorknobs. It could be on you at my meet and greets, for God's sake. Anyway, I freaked out. So I had to put on this cream on my lips. And I also had to put it up my nose because my doctor felt as though it was okay to tell me that this bacteria colonizes in your nose. And once that happens, it's very hard to get rid of. Colonizes. Darlings, that is not a word I need to hear associated with my body. And once it gets in your nose and it's living there, you become a carrier of the MRSA. Listen, I don't need to carry anything. I have carried enough bags and suitcases around this fucking globe for 30 years. I don't need to be a carrier of MRSA, right? Well, fortunately, I got the test back. The nose was clear, my lips cleared up, and I was fine, all right? And then I ended up having the surgery on my shoulder, right? And you should see the bruise. I bruised like a peach. But here's the thing. Worse than the MRSA, worse than being told I might be a carrier of this thing, was they said I had to throw away all of my makeup. Devastating. I moved it from the makeup bag to the floor, then to the front door. Finally, a few days later, I got it out into the garbage. It was terrible. And I was so upset. I was crying. And my husband said, you need to calm down. And then I bit my nail just because I was like, oh my God. And I broke my tooth. Because, MRSA and having shoulder surgery wasn't enough. Anyway, I said, you know what, Coco? Put it in perspective. And I looked up to the heavens and I gave thanks for Xanax. I'm telling you, kids, that drug is a miracle fucking drug. I swear by it. Anyway, darling, what else did I want to tell these wonderful people?
But I had the MRSA, my lips were so big.
Oh, yeah. This is what I wanted. This is related to what I'm wearing. Oh, I have to tell, when I had the MRSA, my lips were huge. And they were like kind of bright red. They looked fabulous. And I called Bianca Del Rio and I said, honey, forget about the lip fillers. I've got MRSA for you. Oh, nothing would give me more pleasure than giving that queen MRSA. Really. No, she gave me this. She posted a picture of her wearing a caftan, and I said I liked it, so she sent me one. And I feel the least I could do is give her some MRSA back in return. We're like sisters that way. Anyway, now what else did I want to tell these beautiful people? Let me look at my notes. Rafa.
This one here, this one.
Oh, yeah. All right. Oh, Joe didn't want me shuffling the papers. All right, honey, I got it. Oh, by the way, someone asked if I'm going to show my husband, Raphael. No. He's very private. He's not even comfortable with you hearing his voice right now. He's so sweet. But anyway, I'm a little embarrassed doing this. And my husband said, listen, honey, I haven't worked in months, not getting the unemployment because I thought I would be working. And my husband said, listen, honey, it's not a matter of whether or not you want to do this online show and beg for tips. It's not a matter of whether or not you feel like doing an online show and begging for tips. You need to do this online show and beg for tips. So that's what I'm doing. And listen, I want you people out there, my beautiful, wonderful Cocoa Puffs, I want you to know that if you are going through a hard time, if you can't afford your rent, whatever it is, you do not have to tip me. I purposely said yes to doing this online show with these people because it was free. And for me, it was really about connecting with my fans. And so please do not feel like you have to tip, all right? But for those of you that can afford to tip, I want you to think of this as a benefit for Coco. And for 30 years, my God, I have done so many benefits. In fact, I said to a friend of mine a few years back, I actually said this. I said, you know what? I am just so sick of doing benefits. I don't need this anymore. And my friend, who happens to be living with AIDS, said to me, are you as sick as the people they're benefiting? And I said, oh, shut up. Let me hit play. Come on. There we go. The name on everybody's lips is gonna be Coco. The lady raking in the chips is gonna be Coco. I'm gonna be a celebrity. That means somebody everyone knows. They're gonna recognize my eyes, my hair, my teeth, my fake tits, my nose. From just some drag queen in Van Nuys, I'm gonna be Coco. Who says that drag is not an art? And who, in case you cannot tip, can walk the streets selling it? Coco, Miss Coco Peru. I said to my husband, Raphael, he's from Spain, thank you. I said, Rafa, if I don't make some money soon, I'm going to have to prostitute myself. And Raphael laughed and said, that's not a bad idea. He's so understanding. From just some drag queen in Van Nuys, I'm gonna be Coco. Who says that drag is not an art? And who, in case you cannot tip, can walk the streets selling it? Coco, Miss Coco Peru. Do, 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 tip, 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 me, 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 tip, 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 me, 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 Coco Peru. Oh my God. Okay, kids, I went there. I'm putting my glasses on for a second so I can see where I am. Listen, for those of you that don't know my shows, I'm known mostly as a, oh no, before I get into this, I did want to say this. You're probably thinking to yourself, oh my God, does this poor disillusioned queen really think she can get out there and have people pay for sex with her? Well, listen, in my defense, I just want to say you have a point. But, let me tell you something. There are people out there that like their mommies, all right? And sometimes there's people out there that like their mommies knowing that underneath there's a daddy. I'm just saying, all right? It's a very diverse world out there, and I love it. In fact, a few years ago, I was leaving a Starbucks, and I'm telling you, I'm embracing my Coco Cougar, okay? I'm going to tell you this story. I was leaving a Starbucks, and this very sexy, hot Latino guy, covered in tattoos, he was catcalling this girl, and he was going, psst, hey, beautiful, hey, sweetheart, mama, and I'm looking around thinking, oh my God, who is this pig harassing? And then I realized it was me. And I said, hey. Oh yeah, I went there. I played the part, okay? I'm an actress and sometimes a little bit of a whore. Anyway, I asked him, I said, listen, how old are you? He said, 24. I said, 24? 24. Oh my God, darling, I am old enough to be your mother. And he said, holy shit, that's hot. Isn't that sweet? I mean, oh God, such a polite young man. You know, his mother would be proud if you took out the trying to pick up an old drag queen in a Starbucks parking lot part. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. What I was going to say earlier is that for those of you that have never seen a Coco Peru show, I'm so sorry for you. But I am known as a monologuist or a monologist or a bullshit artist. And I tell autobiographical stories. And for those of you that don't know what that means they're all true based on my life. And so I thought tonight, since this is my first online show, I would reach into the Coco Vault. You know how Disney, right? Remember Disney had the Disney Vault? They would release a movie every now and then. Well, you know what, Disney? You're not the only one with the vault. Coco has a vault too. All right. So I'd like to tell you a true story. This actually happened to me. I was in the airport here in Los Angeles, LAX, and I was on one of those, you know, those moving walkways. You know what I'm talking about, right? Well, up ahead of me, there was this elderly woman, very old, very upset, okay, because she couldn't understand why people were walking on a moving walkway. And she was screaming, why are all of you people walking? It's moving. Stop walking. Oh, I tell you, I thought the old lady was going to have a stroke, okay? So, being the good drag Samaritan that I am, I came up alongside of her and I said, excuse me, hi, listen, I'm sorry you're so upset, but you see, there are actually two lanes here. One is for the people that want to stand like yourself, and this one is for the people that want to pass like me. Anyway, that's how it's supposed to work. And she looked right at me and she said, that's how it's supposed to work, fag. She actually spit in my face when she said it, and I was in such a state of shock. I didn't know what to say. I couldn't find the words, you know, and in my head I was thinking, oh, come on, Coco. You're a cunt. Where's your comeback? But I just stood there with my mouth hanging open, and she finally said, what? And I'm sorry, I really couldn't think of anything. And I said, you just called me a fag. At which point she turned to the two strangers behind her and she said, well, he is, isn't he? Bitch got me twice. The old bitch got the drag queen twice. I'm telling you, kids, I'm the one that almost had a fucking stroke, all right? Anyway, about a week later, I'm visiting my family in South Florida. And one day, my beautiful nephew, Ethan, who at the time was 6 years old, Ethan walks up to me and he asks me completely out of the blue, he said, why do you dress like a girl? And I said, well, Ethan, don't you like dressing up? Like on Halloween? Isn't it fun and exciting? Doesn't it make you feel happy? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, Ethan, that's how I feel when I dress up. Only I don't want to have to wait for Halloween. And he thought about it for a second and he said, oh, okay. And then he ran back to play with his buddies. And I realized, Coco Peru, yet once again, you've just made this world a little more beautiful. Well, I do what I can do. Which brings me right back to that old woman at the airport. You see, I have to wonder, what kind of poison was she fed as a child? You know, what kind of cruel things was she told to make her so angry and hateful? And I have to believe it's for the best. I never said anything back to that older woman, you know, to add to her misery and the misery of the world. And you see, That's another thing you learn as you grow older, that you can't always change people. I mean, darlings, no matter what I might have said to that older woman, most likely I wasn't going to change her. And you see, I'm learning that that's okay. Yes, because someday soon, that old cunt will be dead. Yes! Yes! The future is in the hands of our nieces and our nephews, our children, and it is with them that I can make a real difference in this world by being a good role model. And let's face it, huh? My Cocoa Puffs, who wouldn't want their children to have this as a role model? That's a sound cue, but since I'm doing my own. Oh, God. Is it coming on? I've been in this world a while, and I've seen how people can be totally unsupportive and always, what's in it for me? Oh, you think no one wants to hurt you? Well, don't be too sure. Don't be shocked, babe, when someone does. 'Cause people suck. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck how you feel, but I do. Do you believe me? People suck, and all that a person can do is understand that that's just life when people who suck fuck you. I mean, it's just a fact of life. It's a lousy little world filled with lousy little people. We're all gonna die, so why even try to be nice? Why even give them advice? No, I mean it. But listen here, kids. People thrive on smashing our pride to the ground because people suck. Yes, they do, but you can't let those lousy little people get the best of you. You need somebody in your life when things don't grow so great to watch your back, remove the knife, and help you keep your head on straight. Oh, because people suck. They only look out for themselves. They don't give a fuck how you feel, but I do. Just stick with me, kids. People suck. And all that a person can do is understand that that's just life when people who suck fuck you, because they're going to. Yes, people will piss on your dreams and they'll enjoy it. Those lousy people, they're all over this world. It's just a fact of life. Don't let people screw with you. Just smile at them like you Coco Peru. When people who suck fuck you. Fuck you. Thank you. Oh, I hear the applause. I feel that standing ovation. And, or not. I can be a little delusional. Anyway, well, right now, in my Coco Thoughts, I do the little, I show you something and whatnot. So I wanted to tell you about this friend of mine that I actually spoke about briefly in one of the videos that I did with my girlfriend, Heclina. And, well, he's a wonderful artist. And Joe, can you pull up the artwork? Yeah. Okay. So there's one he did of me with the classic Coco, mouth wide open. I love it because I just look like an alien. And then in the middle, you see me as a Star Trek character. And Terry drew that one based on my obsession with my Lieutenant Uhura doll, a monologue I do in one of my shows. And I actually talked about my Lieutenant Uhura doll in one of my Coco Thoughts. And then the next one was something I commissioned from Terry. It was for my Conversations with Coco thing. I wanted to say, imagine the possibilities of all the different people Coco could interview, and all those famous people's names are written in my hair, and then the logo of the show is my lips, Conversation. I just love what Terry did with that. And then the next picture is the one I shared with Heclina. Joe, can we bring up that there I am. Oh, God, that's Bugs Bunny as Coco Peru. And of course, I love that one because when you think about it, Bugs Bunny was really the first drag queen I think all young children were introduced to. And then, so right now, I want to introduce you to the person that drew these for me, wonderful artist. And what I love about Terry is that He's, he's gay. He's Mexican American. He's an ex-Mormon. And he's a cartoon geek. So please welcome my good friend, Terry Blass. Terry, are you there? There you are. Look how cute you look.
Oh, thank you. I'm thrilled to be here.
Is that a cat around your neck?
A little cat collar, yeah.
Oh, God. Terry, well, first of all, tell what I love about you so much, besides the fact that you draw so many of us drag queens. And that's how I got to meet you. You just sent me a piece of your artwork and it was so great. We just connected. But what I love about you, darling, is that you've incorporated your queerness, your Mexican heritage, all of it into your artwork, and you've come out with your own books. So I didn't know that there's this whole subculture of comic book, forgive the word, but geeks.
Yeah.
And I love my geeks. I feel like I'm a geek.
Not offensive.
Tell me, how did you discover that about yourself?
I always loved cartoons and comics since I was a little kid, and that's sort of how I, like, the lens through which I saw the world. And so I always drew pictures as a little kid and wanted to draw cartoons and comics. And I went to art school eventually after I lived in the Bronx for a little while. We're both former residents.
That I did not know, Terry.
Yeah, that's where I was a Mormon missionary.
Oh, they probably ran you right out of the Bronx too, didn't they?
We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
But yeah, I went to art school here in Portland where I live and got an illustration degree, which is funny because I transitioned that into writing graphic novels and comic books.
Right.
And I feel like that helped me too, work with other artists. So yeah, I write mostly graphic novels aimed at like a younger audience, which for me is fun and important because I include a lot of diversity, queer characters in my books, which are aimed at like a junior high school age. And I think that's important because when queer kids read books and watch cartoons and they don't see themselves represented, the message is that they don't exist.
Correct.
So I always include that. My first book, Dead Weight, is a murder mystery, a queer murder mystery set at a fat camp. And my second book is Hotel Dare, which is a Mexican-American fantasy adventure about three kids who get sent to live with their creepy grandmother in a disgusting hotel, and they find out every room leads to a different magical world. I so wish, Terry, that these books, like you said, existed for someone like me. When I came out, we had to go to bookstores or libraries to try to find anything. Now with the internet, these kids are discovering this. I didn't know that there was so we have a mutual friends in common, Hamish. Yeah.
Who wrote a comic book called Zedenzia.
I have it right here.
Oh, you have it right there. And that includes trans characters, gay characters. I mean, it's just amazing. So I'm so happy that this world exists for young people out there. Now, back to me.
Of course.
Back to me. Recently, you drew a picture of me, and it's from Tu Wong Fu. And it's actually from a moment in the movie, the point where I pull out the gun on Patrick Swayze because he keeps cutting me off was cut from the movie because I guess it wasn't family friendly enough. Because drag queens were so family
friendly.
But I was stunned when you sent me this drawing. So, Joe, can you show everyone? There I am with my gun pointed in the air, and that is a scene from Tu Wong Fu that literally flashes by so fast. Terry, what made you draw that particular picture of me?
This is a story I don't think I've told you. I don't think you know.
No, I don't.
I was, that's the first time I think I ever saw you. I became obsessed with the movie, and I watched it so much that I noticed, the gun because I'd seen it so many times, and it's there for a split second. But it was such a strong, iconic pose for me, like almost like, like a Bond girl, I think, like you've mentioned before.
Yeah.
But around the time I started art school, I saw an interview where you spoke about the movie and talked about your audition scene. And you mentioned, correct me if I'm wrong, that all these other girls were being fierce and posing and, and doing what they thought they should. and that this had a profound impact on my life. So I don't think I've ever told you this, but in this interview you said, I'm going to do the exact opposite of what everyone else is doing. And that's when the cup came into existence.
Right.
And that you got hired for the movie.
I did, and I really didn't think I would be, because I was so not giving anything except crushing the glass. But and it was really survival, because I couldn't do what the other girls were doing. If I could have, I probably would have joined in and done the drops but I don't. I stand and talk for a living. So it was just the actor in me kicked in, and I just reached for a prop. There happened to be a plastic cup there. And yes, that's how I got that. But I wanted to share with you, when you sent me this picture, it brought back a memory for me, something that I hadn't thought about in years. And that is when we were filming, the costume designer, whose name I can't remember, she was nice, but we had a disagreement. She wanted, all the drag queens were allowed to wear their own costumes, but for some reason, I was not allowed to wear that gold dress. And she had put me in something that was so not Coco. And I was really very upset about it, but I didn't know how to speak up for myself, because I was this young drag queen in this big Hollywood movie.
Yeah.
And Kenny Ortega, the choreographer, and his assistant, Greg Smith, were such champions for us drag queens. And I will always love them for this. They did a lot for us. But he said to me, listen, he also agreed that I should be wearing the gold gown. He thought that was very Coco. And so he said, this is what you're going to do. When they call you to set, you don't come to set. You sit in your dressing room. And then when they say, where's Coco Peru? I will say, she's upset about something. They'll send the director down and you'll get to wear your dress. So sure enough, I sat there. Next thing you know, director Kenny Ortega and the costume designer come down. I said, I don't feel comfortable wearing that. I want to wear my own costume like everybody else is. And the director was like, fine, I don't give a shit what you wear, put your dress on. And so I got to wear my dress. And the costume designer and assistant wouldn't talk to me for the rest of the shooting, which made me very uncomfortable. And no hard feelings, though. It was a very stressful time. But when I was on stage and I was filming it, I felt glamorous and I felt Coco. I felt like that Bond girl you were talking about. I loved, pulling out the little gun and going after Patrick. And so the lesson for me was that I sometimes, even when you don't feel like you're anybody important, you do know what's best for you. And when I got up on that stage and I felt fears, I think it sort of somehow went through your TV and you recognized it. And to me, that picture you drew of me just means the world to me. There it is again. So listen, Terry, thank you for sharing that with us. I want everyone to know where they can go find all of your artwork and your books. They're for sale. I love supporting my queer artist friends. Well, really all artist friends, but especially my queer artist friends. So tell everybody where they can come find you and visit you and chat with you.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Terry Blass. It's just my name. I'm very easy to find. And my books are available wherever comics are sold. So I suggest supporting a local comic book shop that might need a little bit of help right now,
That's terrific.
Yeah.
Terry, I will call you soon. By the way, I told Terry the other day, he didn't even know his last name, what it meant. Well, you knew it was Saint Blas, but I explained to you, I grew up in the Bronx, you grew up Mormon, I grew up Catholic, and every year we had our throat blessed in honor of Saint Blas, the patron saint.
I had no idea.
You had no idea. I am a well of information, Terry. All right, Terry, I love you.
I love you too.
Okay?
Thank you.
Bye, honey. Oh, please go visit Terry when this is over. He's a wonderful artist, and you can buy his artwork. By the way, just as a little side note, when I was friends with Liza when I lived in New York, did I just drop a name? Liza Minnelli, and my mother loved Liza because Liza was so kind to me. So, Liza would call at home and she'd speak to my mom on the phone and my mom would just be like, I spoke to Liza. It was incredible. So when Liza was having a little bit of vocal issues, my mother became obsessed with finding a Saint Blas medal that would be blessed so she could give it to Liza. And she couldn't find it. She was going to all these religious stores. She couldn't find it. She said, what happened to Saint Blas? Is he not a saint anymore? Anyway, years later, well, maybe a couple of years later, Ralph and I were in this remote town in Spain, and we found a convent, and it was the convent of Saint Blas, and the nuns were locked away. And they had this like lazy Susan built into the wall, and you could buy cookies from them. And I bought my mother a Saint Blas. I bought two, one for her, one for Liza. And my mother sent it to Liza so her throat would heal. Isn't that? Liza sent her a letter back. I just loved that my mother was obsessed with buying a Saint Blas medal, and we found it. Anyway, all right, moving on. Now, this is a part I'm really looking forward to. This is the Q&A part. So, Chris, are you there?
I am.
Do you know how much time we have for questions, honey?
Yeah, we have time to cover quite a few questions here.
Oh, God, I'm going too fast, aren't I?
No, you're perfect, and it's great because there are a lot of people who are asking some of the same questions, which is great. And so I'd like to start with one that was asked a lot, and that was, how did you meet your husband? Just tell a little bit of that story, which was asked by Mitchell and about 5 or 6 other people as well.
Hi, Mitchell. Do you know where Mitchell is?
I do not.
Oh, hey. Well, Mitchell, wherever you are, and to those other people that asked this question, I went out to Fire Islands with 2 of my friends, and my friend who is Cuban is he's very Cuban. Let's just put it that way. He did not, he wanted to find a parking spot that was perfect for his car, So his partner, Greg, my good friend Greg, who made the gold dress I wore in Suong Fu, Greg kept yelling at him, saying, "We're going to miss the ferry. We're going to miss the ferry." But he had his Cuban backup, and so Sal said, "No, I don't care," and we missed the ferry, and we ended up going to another port. I forget the name of them. The Pines. We ended up going to the Pines, and we walked across the beach to Cherry Grove. But on the boat going over, I saw my husband, and I thought, that is a good-looking man. And kids, here's the trick to finding someone. You got to look for kind eyes. Above all else, you got to look in the eyes, and if kindness is coming out of them, you found a potential partner. So anyway, I didn't say anything to him on the boat. I just thought he was a good-looking guy, and he ended up sitting next to us on the beach. And I worked up the guts to go over and say hello because he was out of my league. I can be honest with you. He was just so handsome. I thought there's no way. But we ended up talking for 5 hours, and then we had a date. And he told me all about himself, and I didn't tell him I did drag because at that time, no one wanted to date a drag queen. And then I invited him to my show without telling him. And he then did break up with me because he didn't think he could deal with dating a drag queen. And I called him and left him a very beautiful, compassionate message saying that he didn't know all of me. And well, anyway, he called back and asked for a second chance. And I said, yes. And it's really because I had seen him naked on the beach. It was so wonderful. We hadn't had sex yet. So I thought, well, I'm at least going to get a part of that at least once. And this year we are celebrating in July 25 years together. So anyway, I met my husband on a beach and not in the backwoods where other things happen. No judgment there. I visited, but I found my husband on the beach. Okay. Thank you.
And look at him helping today, with this. It's so wonderful. So the next question is from Maggie C. And Maggie wants to know, what is your best memory of doing a show?
Oh, that's 30 years of doing shows. I have so many good memories. Oh, but I think I told this in one of my Coco thoughts. I'm not sure. I have 2 memories. One is I talked about my love of dolls and that I never got them. And then I had to figure out ways to get certain dolls. And this mother came up to me afterwards and she said, I'm going to buy my son every doll he's ever asked for. I didn't want to because I was ignorant, but after listening to your show, he's getting every doll. And I just found so much joy in knowing that there was a little boy out there that, was going to end up, I never met that boy, but I knew there was a boy out there that was just going to get a plethora of dolls. And that meant the world to me. And another thing I once got was I had done a show and a woman had seen it, and she wrote a beautiful letter to me that I actually had framed for a while. And she said that she realized through a drag queen that she had followed all the things that was laid out for her as a woman in society, instead of following her inner voice, her own dreams. She sort of played a role. And part of my shows is that we get to create who we are. As I created Coco, that was one of the big lessons, was that I get to create my life. This is my one chance. And so she was filled with a lot of regrets. It was a very sad letter, but it ended kind of beautifully, where she realized at a late age that she was going to turn her life around and start doing, creating herself finally. So I never forgot that.
So here's another great one, and that's from Troy. And Troy L, who wants to know, what celebrity is on your bucket list to meet or interview, and why?
Oh, I have to meet Dolly Parton, for God's sake. Dolly Parton, because I already interviewed Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda, and I was obsessed with the movie 9 to 5. I went to see it 6 times in the movie theater, and I even went later to Dollywood, where I bought a piece of jewelry in her store, in the Dollywood store, and it went bad as soon as I got it out of the park. It tarnished. So I want to say to Dolly, you owe me $11.99. But that would complete the trifecta of 9 to 5 if I got to meet and interview Dolly Parton.
Okay, and then we have a question here from Alice, and that is, what is the thing you're most looking forward to after quarantine, when all of this is sort of over?
Oh, I've been talking about retiring for 2 years because I'm so tired of lugging bags around in airports and all of that. But now that's kind of what I'm looking forward to, is getting back and hearing. It's very awkward tonight to have to do this in front of a computer and not feel the audience. But I'm imagining all of you, and that's what's getting me through this. So I think what I'm looking forward to the most is being with my audiences again. I miss you guys. And number 2, it'd be nice to walk around Target and not feel rushed, to just walk.
I can relate to that one.
Yeah.
So everybody absolutely loved Terry. I know he's gotten a lot of new followers already on Instagram.
Oh, good.
A couple of people have asked, including Carlo, what's the story with the still life on the wall behind you? Is there some special meaning of that to you?
Oh, this year? That painting, that painting, that was a gift that was given to Raphael's parents. Rafa, am I telling the right story? No, I'm telling the wrong story. There's another painting over there that was a gift. Raphael's mother painted that. Her name was Josefina. She was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful woman, a beautiful artist. She used to carve these gorgeous boxes, and she went to Madrid to art school, and that's where she met her husband, Don Efren. And they fell in love. He was so good looking, my father-in-law, and she was beautiful. And she gave up art school to become a mom to these 6 brats, and but created a beautiful life. And that's something she painted. So when both of Raphael's parents passed away, the siblings split everything up, and that was one of the paintings we ended up with, and I just love it.
So this one from Michael is a fun one. Michael wants to know, how do you cut off toxic family members? I guess maybe in your own Coco style. I've been very blessed with my family, and believe me, we disagree about a lot. But, one of the things I've learned from my mom is not holding on to things, like not having a grudge. Like certain people I know, you do something to them, they're like dead to me. My mother has told me stories that some of her closest girlfriends, one in particular, things that this woman did to her. And I think, Mom, how could you? And my mother never even said anything. She just like, what are you going to do? So I kind of have a little bit of that, where I try to, but also I will say the other thing is that I try not to always have to be right. And I believe that storytelling is really the key to changing the world. So I find that if I engage them in
some stories about myself, that's kind of when they change their minds. They see it a little bit differently. But for those of you that do have toxic families, I am not a therapist, but I do know I do have friends that did need to cut out family members. And honestly, it was really for the best because they're much happier for it. I've just been very fortunate up until now. We'll see.
Okay, and so another question we've had a few people ask is, what was your inspiration for Coco? You know, how did Coco come along in your life?
Oh God, I've told this story many times. So for those of you that have heard it before, I'm gonna get yourself a LaCroix, if you will. I was visiting my first boyfriend, Eduardo, in Peru. And I met a drag queen named Coco, who was a beautiful boy and who transformed into a beautiful woman. And he was very famous in Peru. And I thought, this is a place where you have to knock on the door. This was in the 80s. You had to knock on the door to get in the gay club that was hidden. You know, they hated homosexuals, very Catholic. And he was famous on television. People loved this Coco. And I thought, there is a power in owning 100% of who you are. And all my life, I had tried to change myself. Even in acting school, I was told to butch up and lose my Bronx accent. And finally, I got to a place in my life where I thought, you think I'm a fan? You really have no idea. So, and once I made the decision and I said, I'm a drag queen, I felt so connected to all the drag queens and all the activists that came before me. And I knew in that moment that I had found my calling. And I was inspired by the AIDS activism at the time. And I was also inspired by Native American Two-Spirits. I had read a couple of those books. So those three things came together and I created Coco. And I was going to be a drag queen who told stories. And at the time when I created Coco, no one was really doing what I did. And people were like, no one's going to care. But I always tell young people, make sure your vision and your goals are bigger than your fears. Don't let your fears overtake you. Your goal has to be bigger. The vision of what you have in mind for yourself always must be bigger than those crazy fears. And believe me, I have lots of fears. I've let those fears stop me sometimes over the years, but most of the time I've been able to push forward. Okay?
All right, and so that plays into our next question from Alice. And Alice said that you're her idol, and the reason that Alice started doing drag. Alice wants to know, you know, what advice would you give to a beginner? Maybe kind of piggybacking on what you were just saying.
Oh, I know the exact answer. Show up on time and respect the people you're working with because they make you look better. So even tonight, there's people you're not seeing that are behind the scenes like Joe, and well, you're seeing Chris, and Eli was on the other day, and Matt Farber. All of these people work so hard to make me look better. And so I would say respect the people you're working with. My parents taught me that, and acting school taught me that. Show up on time, and if you're doing drag, I always fake nails. It really completes the look. There's a beautiful picture of me, not of this, but of when I was young, of my hands. A photographer took where I'm putting on my nails, and my one hand has no nails, and the other hand has nails. And it's just the perfect combination of the masculine and feminine. I just think it's a beautiful photo. Anyway, those are my 3 suggestions.
Those are great suggestions. So I have one more question, but before we do, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone in the audience for submitting their questions. There were so many great questions, and I'm sorry we couldn't get to all of them, but hopefully we can on.
We will. When is the next show I'm doing?
So I believe it is 2 Wednesdays from now.
Okay.
Wednesday, but the following. And so we'd love to have people come back, and we'll make sure to get more questions in. They were all great. Like I said, there's one more. But before, I just wanted to share a couple things with everybody. One, if you haven't tipped yet, you can certainly do that. I have to say, this is my first time meeting with you and working with you. And it was everything I hoped it would be and more. You are so amazing as a person, and just the message you share is really awesome. So this has been a real honor. If those out there, if you appreciate it and enjoyed it, you can certainly, you can tip on screen or via Venmo at Coco Peru. If it asks for the last 4 digits of your phone number, you can just click continue. It will let you send a tip. And then there's 2 other shows coming up I want to share with people. So one of them is the Pajama Party, which Miss Richfield does. You can go to pajamaparty.live to register for that one. and that's free, and that's on Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. And then the other coming up is by Erotic. It's a great show. It's an incredibly sexy, high-level acrobatic gay circus, and tickets are now available on a pay-what-you-can basis at live.eroticshow.com. There's actually 2 shows. It's June 20th and June 21st, so definitely 2 great events that people can check out. And so with that, I'll kind of throw back one more question here from the audience, and that's, we had Brian F. ask, what can we do or how can we move forward with racism, and what we see happening in the world today?
Okay. Before I answer, because that is how I wanted to close the show. So I'm so glad that someone brought that up, because then I know other people are kind of where I'm at in my head. But my manager would kill me. Michael, you've heard me talk about Michael before. I'm looking at myself. So many of you bought my little look, the little keychain. Thank you so much. More are available, so you don't have to touch a thing. You can poke buttons. You can poke your friends. Open doors. I'm so pleased with the way it came out. I love it. I am also, you may have noticed my sippy thing. This is glass. It has a little cocoa thing on it. And because I hate plastic so much, and whenever I go to the ocean, it's just filled with plastic. So I thought, what could I do? So we have cocoa straws that come in this beautiful bamboo case. It has a little cleaner in there as well. And of course, we have the cocoa pictures that I will sign and send to you if you want. And That Bothers Me bag. All of this is available on my website, cocoperu.com. And I did want to show you, this is the little stand-up that Terry sent me. He sent me the picture, but he also sells stand-ups. Isn't that fabulous? I just love it. All right, so I think I covered everything, right? All right, so I'm gonna maybe read a little bit of this because it means so much to me. I don't want to screw it up, all right? But I did acknowledge that in my last few Coco thoughts, I talked about Black Lives Matter in my own family. I have Black family members and who I've known they've been in my life for 40 years. And I told in the last video, I told some of the experiences that some of those, 2 of my nephews and 1 niece had, and another relative, and one that involved, police showing up with guns for no reason. And then what happened after that? And then since then, I was talking to another niece, my niece Janine, and she told me a really horrifying story about something that happened to her. And I said to her, oh my God, Janine, I never knew this. How is it possible? We've been family for all these years and I never knew these stories. And she said, well, I guess I don't want to relive the trauma. And when we get together as a family, it's about family time. We're laughing and we're having fun. And I just, what happened was that, yes, thank you, honey. My husband wants to make sure I say this. What happened was that I got so many beautiful comments about those particular videos, but then I got some other comments, and I just want to read to you 3 of them. Someone wrote, "Enough of all this PC crap. What a disappointment these thoughts are becoming." Talking about my family, right? Then someone else wrote, "Stop wringing your hands. You're hurting good people." Okay. Who are the good people I'm hurting? I don't know. Narcissistic white people who can't stand that the conversation isn't about them. I have no idea what that means. You're hurting good people. And then this one in all caps, "Fight for gay rights. Sad." Okay, what have I been doing for 30 years? I've been fighting for gay rights don't tell me I didn't fight my feet from walking in heels down Fifth Avenue. Don't tell me I didn't fight for gay rights. And what's the problem for continue to fight for gay rights while you're also fighting for other people's rights? It doesn't make sense to me. So I was really obsessed with these comments, and it was really getting to me. And then that's when I spoke to my niece Janine, and she told me her horrifying story, and I just was getting so upset. And then I said, think about all of the stories within my own family that I didn't know, right? And then you think about all the Black family and friends you have. And think about the Black people you see on your television in your favorite programs, your favorite Black sports figures, your favorite Black drag queens. Think about the Black people in your neighborhood, in your city, in other cities, across the globe. And then think about all the stories you don't know. Well, I was so enraged by those comments and I couldn't let it go. And then, like a miracle, I got this wonderful message on Instagram from this young guy named Lawrence. Hi, Lawrence. You told me you were going to watch, hopefully with your mom. And I asked Lawrence if it was okay if I read his message to me, because it made me stop. I said, you know what, Coco? Stop focusing on this negative stuff. This isn't about you. Stay focused. And so I want to read to you what Lawrence wrote to me. He wrote, Coco, I just wanted to send you a quick note and say thank you for speaking up and sharing the experiences you and your family have had with racism. Your thought today was especially relatable. I saved and saved to buy my dream car. It is a 4-door Jeep Wrangler. I was over the moon happy and loved driving it. I'd been pulled over or had someone call the police on me for apparently stealing that car 5 times in the last 8 months. That's including the last 2 months when I haven't even driven 50 miles total because of the lockdown. So I wanted to say thank you. Thank you for being an ally and sharing with us. It really does mean a lot. Lawrence. So I just want to say, no, Lawrence, thank you. So my darling Cocoa Puffs, if for any reason you don't have Black people in your life, well, now you do. All right, you have Lawrence. So I expect all of us to think of our fellow Cocoa Puff Lawrence as we move forward as a country and global community. And people think you're hand-wringing or being totally PC, just think about what we used to say in the Bronx. Fuck it, all right? And because I really do believe this, that none of us have justice or freedom until all of us do. And I am so inspired by looking at all the people of all colors out there in the streets. And I hope that this is the turning point towards justice and freedom for all. All right. And I learned a long time ago from the activists that came before me that if you want to see the change in the world, you have to be the change. Each one of us is 100% responsible for creating the world we want to live in. So my darlings, let's make it a fucking awesome world. So in closing, I want to say thank you for visiting Casa Coco. Thank you to Joe and Chris and Matt and my manager, Michael, and my husband, Rafael. He's from Spain. Thank you. And thank you for your generous tips. And I want you to know, okay, that a part of the tips tonight, my tips, will go to charities like the lovelandfoundation.org that provides therapy for Black women and girls, the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, and something so close to my heart, the Los Angeles LGBT Center's Homeless Youth Program. I've met those kids. My shows benefit those kids. They're amazing kids. And so I know this center's struggling right now, so I'm going to give a part of my tips to them as well to make sure that those kids stay housed and get an education. And so right now, I'd like to end with this song. All right, my Cocoa Puffs, we're going to end with the song. And please, if you feel like singing along, I encourage it. Choruses only. Thank you for putting up with me tonight, all right? I really appreciate it. And I can't wait to see all of you. All right, here we go. If I could reach the stars, I'd pull one down for you. I'd shine it on my heart so you could see the truth. That this love I have inside is everything it seems. But for now I find it's only in my dreams that I can change the world. I would be the sunlight in this universe, and you would think my love was really something good, baby, if I could change the world. Now, if I could be a queen, even for a day, why, I'd take you as my, now, other queens. I'd have it no other way. And our love would rule in this queendom we have made. Till then I'll be the fool, just wishing for the day when I can change the world. I would be the sunlight in this universe, and you would think my love was really something good, baby, if I could change the world. Baby, if I could change the world. All right, my darlings, when you go back out into that world, if you see people that are being racist or homophobes or transphobic or dragphobic or any kind of phobic, I want you to reach way down inside yourself and send those people a blessing. And then slash their tires. Oh, we can change the world. We can be the sunlight in this universe, and they might think our love was really something good, baby, if we could change the world, baby, if we could change the world, darlings, yes we can change the world. Ooh, yeah. Thank you so much. I love all of you. I can't wait to see you.